bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
Welcome to the Goon Squad, First 40. This is Puma along with Ice Water and Black Thor. How you doing, Ice Water?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm
I know you are.
Expanding this lead in the NFL picks. You want to listen to our picks, go to our Overtime show on Blog Talk Radio. Man, we're going to be, I know Black is going to be coming in momentarily, but I want to jump right into this with LeBron James, bro. It seems like, in my opinion, he does a lot of great things. I'll never take that away from him. He uses his platform well sometimes, but this time it seems like he's accusing somebody else of really kind of doing their homework and really kind of researching. And he built a school over there. I think maybe he should sit in some of those classes at that school and learn something too, especially not to speak when he doesn't know a lot about what's going on. What are your thoughts about this, man?
Well, the whole thing to me is muddied. I told you that last week. I think a lot, like you mentioned, is it about the money? Is it about human rights? What are we talking about? And I think that he jumped out there and he kind of got caught. I think he wanted to try to seem one way, but I think the money was, and the money people were telling him another thing. So when you don't know, sometimes it's best to be quiet. There's a lot of athletes that have done well with that. You might talk about them later on, but they don't get there. They walk away unscathed when there's turmoil because they don't say anything. So I think he needs to do his homework. And it's interesting, where you see, they talked about the jerseys being burned and whatnot. I just want to know where them jerseys are being burned at. What was that location?
Yeah.
What was that location? That's all I'm saying.
Black, I'm going to bring you on with this, man. We talked a little bit about it last week. I got a feeling Space Jam 2 not going to do too well in China. And he's going to take a beating. His brand is going to take a beating over in China. And I said it last week. It's going to be either principle or that paper or money. And it seems like when he started talking, and this is the second time kind of talking about the issue, it's about the money for him. And then accusing one of the owners of the NBA of not knowing or doing their homework. Now you're coming out like you're not sounding too bright about this whole scenario. So what are your thoughts about this, man?
Let me start by saying this, man. A part of me is loving this for LeBron. Is loving this because when Colin Kaepernick was doing what he was doing, all this brother had for him was a T-shirt. That's all he had. I look at Russell Westbrook when they had him and they had him over there. He looked like he had a gerbil in his mouth. He couldn't even talk. I'm like, these are the same cats that did not stand for what. So whatever happens to them, I applaud it. I do, because sometimes in life you must stand up. And as Ice was saying, he spoke out and he's talking about the owner. And the ironic thing is, when this brother said he didn't realize the ramification financially, physically, and emotionally, I was like, well, LeBron, you know, and it's funny because people wanted to kind of make him out to be a leader, and LeBron was out here speaking on this, speaking on that. LeBron usually speaks when it's comfortable to say something, but it's all overdone, and he finds a midpoint. Other than he's talking about the president, he finds a midpoint where he's not going to insult anyone or get anyone angry at him. This time, he probably got Nike breathing down his back. He's realizing he's going to lose some money. LeBron came off the cuff. It's like, it's all about the money, baby. And I'm talking about the money. I'm putting it out there first. And as you said, he misspoke talking about the owner. In reality, he should have been more kind of relaxed and kind of basically said more things in favor of the government. And you just basically, when maybe it would start to kind of die down, you know, sometimes you build a fire in a fireplace and the fire starts to die down. You went back and threw some logs in there, bro. And you ignited what was basically because you figured the commissioner was over the last week. He probably going over there and try to smooth things down, just smooth things over a little bit. LeBron came back and poured gasoline on this rub. But I want to see what's going to happen when the season starts, because I got a funny feeling this is going to dog him for a while, and it's going to dog the league for a while. And if China decides to kind of pull out even more, guess what's going to do the NBA salary cap? It's going to come down, bro. it's got to come down because they're getting $4 billion out of China. Think about that for a second. $4 billion. And you're giving it to a guy that basically has no idea what's going on in that country. Talking about being educated.
Wow.
He's not educated. So I think there's going to be some ramifications of this that we have yet to see that's going to go much deeper than burning jerseys. I just feel that, man. It's going much deeper than burning jerseys. And if he doesn't play well, I saw a little excerpt from the well, I want to get this team to the championship, bro. It ain't about championships no more with you, bro. I hate to say this. You won those already. He has to come out and play well and basically find a way to kind of wrangle this a little bit because they're going to dog him. They've been waiting. This has been part of the media, in my opinion. Been waiting for an opportunity to get a shot, LeBron.
Yeah.
And they got a big shot now. They got a big shot. They're going to ride this to no end.
Yeah, he opened it up. He opened it up with them taking pot shots at him. And I know you're in Ohio. What are they saying in Ohio about this whole situation with the hometown boy?
Well, I mean, it's LeBron, and he's out. I mean, nobody's really saying anything. They're just kind of watching about the overall, about the NBA. So we're going to see. Like I said, you only know what's going to happen as we get closer. People are watching and watching. There's a lot of things going on. Like I said, we really want to know, as Black Thor mentioned, until the season starts. You know, like I told you before, it's a lot of money, man. We talking about billions, bro. Billions. That's something China don't want to walk away from. That's something the NBA don't want to walk away from. It's great to say that, oh, yeah, everybody can get out. Nah, money talks, BS walk. I want to see how it happens. Yeah, I still point to the factor that when they had those games over there, people were in the gym, man. They were in the gym. They were in the gym. They want to see the games. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But it's a lot of people just to turn their back on a situation. And as you mentioned earlier, I bet you the commissioner's doing everything he can, along with China, to try to smooth this thing out so they can get back to business.
Yeah, it's all about business. If you get a chance, I don't know. I don't really watch South Park, but they do a parody about this that's hilarious and way on point. So if you ever watch South Park, get the episode where they're talking about China and they kind of make fun of it, but everything they're saying is laced in truth. All right, let's go to the NFL eye test. We're going to do an NFL eye test and an NCAA eye test in the first 40. Let me stick with you, Ice, on the NFL eye test, man. What stood out for you last week?
Good Kirk Cousins showed up. Good Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards. They beat the Eagles. The Washington won their first game. Just give Adrian Peterson the ball, 118 yards. He might try to win some games. As much as I wanted to put him down because of his size, didn't know if he was going to be able to play, Kyler Murray is showing up. He's getting better and better each week. 340 yards, 3 touchdowns in the shootout over the Falcons. And Sam Darnold and the Jets. That's all I'm going to say.
Damn them Jets, huh?
No, I just said, you said what stood out. Yeah. Sam Darnold and the Jets. That's all I got to say.
Oh, boy. I think it's the blue uniforms. I don't know. Black, what's your eye test on here? If you want to start with the Dallas Cowboys, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I might have to go there, bro. I'm just going to say this. That woman that gave him mono, they need to find her, bro, because I have yet to see Sam Darnold never played that well and that precise since he's been in the NFL. He was launching that ball Sunday, bro, launching it. And, I mean, it's interesting because it's not to try to clown the Cowboys. There's something going on. I know you got injuries, and it's not even the head coach. There's something going on with that team, man, where, to me, it seemed like they were feeling themselves the first 3 games, and they got punched in the mouth, and now they don't know what to do. It's like everything we're trying is not working. They don't know what to do, and it's like it's just starting to unravel. And I think one of the telling signs was when the head coach was trying to give guys high five, and they walked right by him. They walked by and avoided him. With that being said, I'm going to jump to the game that was on last night, man. The Lions and the Packers, or actually Monday night. The Lions are coming, man. I know they didn't win that game, but the Lions are coming. I got to give their head coach credit because he has turned that franchise around. They're playing good defense, and they're running the ball. I don't know what's going on with the Rams other than the fact that that quarterback is horrible. It's absolutely horrible, and they got to do something about that. They picked up Ramsey, but that's what will help you but so much. But that quarterback is horrible. And I think the problem with the Rams, they're trying too many quick fixes. Even bringing Ramsey in, it's a lot of quick fixes to try to fix things up. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, I don't know what they did, man. I got a funny feeling they beat him up in our locker room a little bit after all that because I ain't never seen Kirk Cousins sling it like that. I've never seen Kirk Cousins sling it like the way he slung it Sunday in Philadelphia. And I know Philadelphia coach talking big junk, they're going to beat the Cowboys. Not so fast, as someone would say. Not so fast, because the Eagles just don't look good. Like they're missing something. And it's just like they're not showing up. I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say it again. I'm not sure, maybe I didn't say exactly this, but I'm not sure Cam Newton's ever going to put that jersey on again, bro, in Carolina. Because this quarterback, I'm not saying he's out balling all out, but he's doing exactly what that offense needs for them to win. He's putting the ball where it needs to be. He's growing in confidence. And Jameis Winston and Mariota, they're done. They're done. At the end of this year, I don't think they're going to be starting that for a particular franchise. Jameis, it seemed like the coach for Tampa Bay Sunday wanted to cuss him out so bad. He wanted to cuss him out because Jameis, it's like, you watch him, and I'm watching him, it's like, okay, bro. You see, almost, and I don't usually do this when I see quarterbacks who drop back. But I'm watching at some point, I'm counting my head. Okay, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Get rid of the ball. Get rid of the ball.
Yeah, I count.
And he's running around. At what point you don't throw the ball out of bounds, bro? I mean, you got to get rid of the ball. It's like he's running around like a mouse. And it's no way you got to go to the sideline. They got to tell you this. You've been in the league for 4 years. So for some reason, it's just not going over the top with him. But I will go back to what I said about Carolina. I don't think Cam, they may want to trade him or do something because Cam is not coming back. When your head coach said, I'm not going to talk about that until he's healthy, he ain't going to ever be healthy Carolina. He ain't going to be healthy. He's not coming back, bro.
Well, some of the talk here and some of the sports radio shows here was talking about the available quarterbacks for next year. Mariota came up, Jameis Winston came up, and then Cam Newton came up. And they talked about his contract that he's due next year and that whether or not Carolina wants to bring him back. So there were a number of quarterbacks that were mentioned on this radio show, a local radio show, sports show here, that they had a guest on and they were talking about it. I guess he's a scout. And he was like, a lot of teams are kind of looking at maybe Cam is one of those quarterbacks that they can pick up and that Carolina may not be picking them up later. I want to go back to you on this. A lot of people were talking about the referees and how the calls were happening, but I had a chance to listen to I think one of the head referees, and I don't think he's refereeing now, Fiora, I think, and an interview with him, and he made a great point. He made a real great point. He said, referees make mistakes. They do make mistakes, and they have to see things in real time, and they don't have the luxury of what we see, the replays and all that stuff sometimes right away. He said that, he made reference to Baker Mayfield and said Baker Mayfield gets up at the podium and says, hey, I may get fined for this, but the refs did a poor job. But he said the refs can't get to the microphone and say, well, Baker Mayfield had 3 interceptions and the Cleveland Browns fumbled the ball or turned over the ball 4 times. And a lot of these players are kind of putting it on the ref without taking personal responsibility. They didn't cause drop balls. They didn't cause balls to be overthrown or folks didn't get the first down and things of that sort and other plays. But, 1 or 2 plays out of the game, they make a mistake, and then all of a sudden it's the referee's fault. And I do appreciate the referees. It's a hard job. It's a hard job. These players are faster. These mistakes happen every year. We talk about it every year. But that was the first time that I heard it from a referee's point of view. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, the majority of the time I agree with that, but I think there have been some things that have been so outlandish. And maybe it's one game here or there. I mean, I think about, of course, we talk about, it was only one call. We think about the Rams versus New Orleans last year. Clearly with the offensive interference, pass interference. I think about way back when I was a little kid, Minnesota versus Dallas. Drew Pearson pushed the man down and caught the pass and went for a touchdown. They never called that.
Robbery.
And the game, right. But the game I watched versus with Green Bay versus Detroit, they took that game. They took the game. They took that game. Those calls were so hardcore. It had that much of an effect twice on drives for Detroit. Had literally stopped them on 3rd down, and they had calls that went Green Bay's way. They went scored a touchdown, and they kicked the game-winning field goal. That is just too bad. And the problem for me with the whole thing is with games like that is to have the referees come back and through player personnel or whoever, we got it wrong. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm serious. I don't want to hear that. I swear. If you make the call, live with the call. Don't come back on Monday or Tuesday. Yo, man, we messed up. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. I don't. Because what can you do about it now? Nothing. Nothing. It's like saying somebody was on drugs in the Olympics, and now you want the gold medal. 6, 8 months, a year later, they want to give you a medal. Hell, you done missed all the endorsements.
And you picked Detroit last week, right?
That's what the hell did, because they were going to win. That's not why I'm frustrated with the referees. Yeah, I did. Did you watch the game?
I watched the game. And
what you think?
I'm like, it was unnecessary for them for that last call because they were going to kick a field goal anyway. But, didn't Detroit turn over the ball during the game a lot during the game?
They turned the ball, yeah, but 2 drives when Green Bay was on the cusp of having a drive when they scored a touchdown, 2 third downs, and the calls are made, and particularly on the hands to the face call, twice on the same player. Okay. And they said, "Oh, we messed that up." Here's my thing: you make the call, fine, right? Mm-hmm. Don't come back and say we messed up. I don't want to hear that. As a fan, if I was a real fan, I don't want to hear that BS. I don't.
All right. Black, listen to this. I'm going to get some, man.
I'm going to say this, man. I think the NFL made a big mistake years ago when they decided to go to replay, in my opinion. For years, when we grew up watching football, we lived with what was called on the field. And these guys, majority of the times, do a hell of a job. Like I said, it's fast-paced. They get it right. 90% of the times, I'm going to give you credit to get it right. Now, the problem is now we want the game to be too perfect. I was watching a college football game Saturday. It took almost damn near halftime before I saw one flag on the field. NFL, you got a flag on the field every play. That drive the Cowboys did coming down, there must have been 4.
6.
Pass interference. You got to be kidding me.
6 flags in a row.
Yes.
6 in a row.
How do you play football every time you try dang it? It's like, let them play, man. Let them play a little bit. So it's to the point now where now they're up somewhere and they're talking about it. It's too many changes. Let them play. Let the refs call what it is. If you don't challenge it, move the freak on. All this every time. And don't talk about special teams. Every time there's a push in the back, and this and that. It's too much, bro. There's too many flags. I know Tom Brady said this several weeks ago. I can't watch a game. Every time they're holding, it's this and that. You get a nice pass, bring it back and holding. There was a play in that game, number 74. He just has arm outside. He wasn't even touching the defensive lineman. Holding. It's too much. Too many flags in the game. The game is never going to be referee perfect unless you go to college where every play is analyzed and you can call it out. If you're not going to do that, it's not going to be a perfectly called game. Let them play some for the love of Pete. I'm tired of all these damn flags.
All right. I'm going to stick with you, Black, on this. The WNBA champs, the Washington Mystics, you called them. Your thoughts about it, sir?
It was a very good game, man. Very good game. Can I get?
Did he cut out?
Yeah, I think so.
Connecticut something basically. Ella Deladon played a hell of a game. She was you figure game 5, game 3 and 4, she played, but she really wasn't, part of the action. Game 5, she showed up and she really kind of played harder and played stronger. But the lady that walked through as the MVP, Emma Mercerman, that young lady can play ball. That lady can take you down low. She can shoot outside. And I think she was the one that pushed him over the hump. So congratulations to him. The coaches, ironically, Mike Thimble used to be the coach of the Connecticut Sun years ago. When they decided to go in a different direction, they released him. He ended up in Washington. But congratulations to him because he's been around for a long time. But they were just too good, too deep, and too well coached to be beat, man. So congratulations to him.
Yeah. Ice water, baseball. The playoffs are hot. And I can't believe the Dodgers. Well, I can believe it because I was talking to my pop. And he was like, the Dodgers aren't going to make it. I knew Washington was hot, but I didn't know they were this hot. And Bryce Harper has to be sick. This is his birthday today, too. And the Washington Nationals are in the World Series, bro. Give me a little bit of your report.
Well, it's like Huh? What you
I was
say?
just saying Dusty. That's what I was going to say.
And you owe Martinez a apology, sir.
You know what? I do. I was wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things this year, but you can't be like New England all year, all the time. So I'm taking L's right now. I'm taking L's in the NFL picks. I'm taking L's in the World Series. But I'll say this. You look at baseball, congratulations to Washington. Their pitching is finally rising to the occasion with Scherzer and others, finally living up to the potential. We always knew they had potential, but now they seem like they're playing hard. They just totally dismantled St. Louis and have moved on to the World Series. But the key has been the American League because Houston had to scratch and claw to beat Tampa. They did everything they could, and now we are in a dynamic series with the New York Yankees versus Houston. Yeah. And Puma, one thing I am right about though, that's a bad man named Jericho. I tried to, you told me Verlander. I said don't worry. Don't worry. It's a man called Jericho. And the thing is, Jericho's a hell of a pitcher. He was in Pittsburgh before he moved on to Houston. And the thing about it is, I say this all the time, and who knows what Washington might win the championship. But I will say this. Jericho was hungry. He came from Pittsburgh. He's never won big time. It's like one of the first couple times in the playoffs, and he's playing like it. And when you get guys like that in any sport of women, in any sport, and they get an opportunity to play on that stage, and they're hungry, they're the most dangerous individuals out there. And I think that, you watched the Yankees last night. I was telling you, Yankees are a hell of a team. And that man came in there. And Black Door, I'm going to tell you something real quick on this baseball thing. This is a guy, 2 games in a row on 4 days rest. He pitched 8 the first time they had to pull him out the game. He pitched 7 last night. And Black Door, they had to come get him. He did not want to leave.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what it should be. They've been dragging you up the field.
Look, he wanted to be there all night. He would pitch all 9 innings if they let him.
Thank you.
Grown man, Jericho.
Yeah, the Yankees left too many men on base, man. Even Judge said, "Hey, man, we're getting away from ourselves. We gotta swing at the balls in the strike zone." They were licking their chops, trying to get the ball out of there, and they left too many men on base. They had Cole, they had him, and they left too many men on base. They had a chance to beat him, but they just couldn't deliver. And
they said, if you don't want it, like he said, you don't want it, I'll take it.
All right. Let's go back to NCAA football. There have been some great games. This is a great weekend in football. You had Oklahoma against Texas, and that Oklahoma quarterback Hurts. He's looking pretty good. And you also had some other games. I'll stick with you. I'll go to you, Black, because you haven't talked. Me and Ice are talking about it all week on the overtime. Give me your eye test on some of the college football games. I'll
start right where we left off with Hurts, man. I'm impressed with him because I didn't think he had this in him. Obviously Alabama was kind of sitting on some of his talents because he's balling in Oklahoma. He's balling. I was a little surprised, but not that surprised that Georgia couldn't get past South Carolina. I thought it was going to slip up, but I didn't think it was going to be at South Carolina. But Georgia is, to me, they're not as strong as people make them out to be. I think their quarterback, he's okay. He's a little overrated. But the team that I have to kind of speak with, man, and give some props to is LSU, bro. LSU is out there balling, man. That offense is balling. Their defense is not that bad. That offense is clicking. And it's going to come a time when they got to play Alabama. We'll see what really goes down. But if they can take Alabama down, they're in good shape. They're really in good shape because that offense, man, they have the guy from the Saints, the offense coordinator. They're moving that ball and slinging it and running quite well. So I was impressed, even though they were looking good all season. But when they played Florida, where they kind of handled them in the second half, I was like, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Got a question for you. How was that Miles doing over at Kansas?
Give him time, man. It's only his first year. Give the man time, man. He got to restart the whole program. They ain't been good since the Kansas Comet.
I think it's go back to those Dr. Pepper commercials myself.
I just want to give me your eye test, man. I'm just waiting for Black. Give me your eye test.
Well, you had to say that. What was it that at least Kansas scored 20 points against Oklahoma? So that's it. They're coming up, Black. That would have been 69-0 back in the day. But yeah, that's how it is. Got to talk about Penn State. You know, I love this. Penn State over Iowa. So Penn State is looking real good coming down the stretch. We'll see how that plays out. You did mention about Oklahoma, outstanding play by them. What can you say from that standpoint? Um, when I think about Oklahoma, I just think about everybody saying how bad Hurts was and he was no good because they took him out the game and they had their brand new quarterback. But people still fail to realize that in the championship, the conference championship game, they needed some help to get to the big dance, and he was right there. So I think he's really showing you that. I think he has a serious chip on his shoulder. He's saying, "Look, I want to get back to the championship or somewhere close to it, and hopefully face my old team and show y'all what y'all really missing out on." And I hope he makes it because he don't say anything, he don't talk stuff. He just moves on and keeps playing football. So I love about it. 2+, you gotta keep up with your buddy, one of your favorite new teams, Puma, Baylor. Baylor squeaked by,
balling, man.
squeaked by, got a victory. So they're still undefeated. So it should be interesting to see what happens the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think they beat Texas Tech over the weekend. Baylor and SMU, those are some teams out of Texas that are really playing some good football, and a lot of people aren't really paying attention to them. Any other teams that you want to mention, Black, college football?
Ooh, I watched this. Not that they're gonna probably make any noise, man, but I had a chance to watch Cincinnati. I watched. I think it was playing Memphis. I was kind of impressed the way they kind of moved the ball up and down the field. That basically covers for me, man. I was a little surprised that I think in a couple of different rankings, I think I saw one ranking where Ohio State moved up into number 1 on top of Alabama, which I think is kind of fair because Alabama just hasn't played anyone, in my opinion. They get away with this every day, like the Patriots. They don't play anyone the whole season. They play a couple of decent games before you know they're there at the end. Clemson to me is still not impressive, but they're getting it done. But Ohio State, if I had to kind of rank a team as number 1, I would actually put them there.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Alabama right now because that's what they're going to do. I think the poll I saw was Alabama, LSU. I think it was Ohio State and then Clemson. I think Clemson is going to be one of those teams that peak at the end of the season. This is a new club, and they'll get that chemistry and get their swagger back towards the end of the season where they're used to kind of playing in the playoff system. But I was surprised that LSU jumped so high, maybe because they beat an unbeaten Florida team. What really kind of bothered me is that when Georgia went down to number 10, you had Ohio State at number 8, and Georgia beat, I'm not Ohio State, but Notre Dame at number 8. And I didn't understand that at all, but it's about Notre Dame and that brand and trying to inch them closer and closer up to the playoffs. And they barely beat USC. USC gave them a great game. So you gonna say something, Black? I see you.
I was gonna add a quick thing to say. I'm surprised that either LSU or Oklahoma hasn't taken Clemson's spot because Clemson basically faltered and they really haven't been playing that strong. Where LSU is playing some talent, Oklahoma's playing some talent. I don't see it with Clemson. I just don't see it. So I'm surprised. I know they won it last year, but it should be based on what you're doing now. And if I look at them now, they should not be in the top 4. They should be fighting to get back there.
Yeah. Ice, what do you say?
Yeah, well, I think the Clemson they had that that hangover thing that sports writers like to do, where they want the champion to be knocked out, even if he was on the ropes. They still want to give them love from what happened last year, which is totally opposite of what they should be doing. But they give them love there. Ohio State is still finding their way. They won the games they're supposed to win. They won impressively, but they still have a ways to go. And I think that's why people are looking down on them a little bit. And I think in reference to LSU, the critics, and particularly the media, the people in the media that are critics of LSU, have been waiting for them to show you that they're different than what you're used to. And I think the way they've been scoring points and dominating a lot of teams, they've had no choice but to put them right near the top. So it's kind of like making LSU earn their right to be near the top, double earn it. Prove it. Show us that you really are that good. And by them doing what they've been doing by winning these early games and being so impressive with Joe Burrow and the rest of the squad, it's hard to deny them. So you almost have to do that. And Alabama. It's like this: until they lose 5 games, they're still gonna be talked about going to be in the Final Four. So that's how that rolls. It's gonna be like that until Saban leaves or they stop getting top-notch recruits.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that game down the road, LSU and Alabama. That's going to tell the tape of who's going to stay in that in the top four. Let's go to boxing real quick. Earl Spence Jr. had a horrific accident and then walked away, Ice. And hearing reports that there was some drinking involved, and you hate to see that. No seatbelt, drinking involved, and he has, the world in front of him. You got to get to some of these young guys and say, hey, man, you got to think. You got to really think, because it could be taken away from you just like that. Your thoughts about this story, man?
Yeah, it was really sad. It was shocking, very, very eerie, because you've heard so many times of other athletes that have dealt with situations like this. And the fact that he didn't have a seatbelt and he lived without any major injuries, major, like life-threatening injuries, says a lot. And it's a blessing, man. So, granted, all I'll say is I hope he gets his life together, and this is another example. But I had to be honest, too. We say this about this all the time, but how many of us have been behind that wheel feeling good, with them juices flowing?
Yeah.
And through the grace of God, we made it. Right here, bro.
Yeah, got to put my hand up, too. Black, what's your thoughts about this, man?
I said it when, he was blessed, man. I didn't realize he didn't have a seatbelt. I watched him tumble several times, and did not have a seatbelt and basically come out with just facial cuts and lacerations. He's blessed, bro, because that don't happen. And Ice is right. Many of us has probably been in that situation and done we shouldn't have done. But it left me with another thing, a little different from that. I don't understand why these cats go out and buy these expensive cars that are not made for American roads. Yeah. Lamborghinis, they look nice, but they're not made to be driven on public residential roads. They're not. I don't care how much money you make. You're putting yourself in a situation where there's no one where you can get in a car like that and not want to test it and do what you got to do, and you can't do it. But I'm hoping that at some point someone gets in this area, he realized, hey, bro, you were given a gift to come back, and please take full advantage of it, because that could end up totally different than how it turned out.
On another note in boxing, sad note in boxing, boxer Patrick Day passed away from brain injuries on fight Saturday. And I'm going to go back to you, Ice, on this one, because I wasn't really familiar with Patrick Day's career. And I know you do another boxing show, and you're probably more abreast on his career and what happened Saturday.
Yeah, up-and-coming young man, really very talented. But he got in there, he's fighting a guy just as talented, a little bit more. And sometimes, we say, styles make fights. And he refused to quit. He was going after it, and things happened. I think about this. I hear about this, and then I think about, I'm going to take you back. This is how far this goes with Ray Boom Boom Mancini and the gentleman by the name of Duk Koo Kim.
Yes.
And Duk Koo Kim died after fighting. And the one thing about that is he came back and kept fighting and kept fighting, kept fighting. And he was on the stool for a minute. He got back up and kept fighting. And they should have stopped that fight a long time ago. But you just never know. It shows you the grit of these individuals and how much they put into this boxing. And it shows you how brutal it can be, but it also shows you how much of a real life scenario it is. That's why I say, no matter what, man, woman, whoever gets in that ring, I take my hat off to them, because you are putting your life on the line literally every time you step in that ring.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a gladiator sport, Black, and some of these guys, they don't come back home. If they have to go back home with the loss, they're going on their shield. They're not quitting.
Yeah, I respect that to an extent, man. This is part of the reason why I don't even watch UFC, bro, because they're out there battling. They battle hard, and I just can't. I respect the sport, but I can't, because at some point, man, I'm afraid something like this is going to happen. I hate this young man lost his life, but that's why I tune out on UFC, man. I can't get into it because they're going out there trying to make impressions and do this. And it's like, your body going to take so much, man. Our bodies aren't made for all that. It really isn't. And like I said, you step into the ring, you never know what's going to happen. And you're putting your life on the line. And it's sad that, most of these boxers, it's something they've dreamed about since they've been a kid. So that's all they really want to do. So if they put everything out there and something like this happens, it's a young life going too soon, way too soon.
Yeah. We got about 5 minutes left in the show. I want to talk about the picks in NFL. And I know it's painful for you guys to talk about this. I'm expanding the league. I hate to do this to you, but it has to be done. It has to be done by somebody. Somebody got to win these picks. And I was looking at my winnings, and I'm ahead of the guys on Showtime. I don't even know what they're talking about. I was looking at Showtime last night. I got more wins than the guys on Showtime. And these guys played in the NFL, so you think they would know a little bit more about football. But I can see the look on Black's face. But I'm going to go to Ice first because I like that look on Black's face. I want to look at it for a while Ice is talking. Because Pop got a message for you, too.
Oh, here we go. 3 weeks he was crying. For 3 weeks he said nothing.
Pop said he was next to you last week. Now he said he ain't at choir rehearsal. He ain't spoken his feet. He in second place. Ice, give me your thoughts about the picks, man.
I love it.
I can't say much. All I know is it's your time, and you know what? Every once in a while, every person has their time. It's your time. Look, I try to be like the Patriots. I can't win it every year. It's like NCAA. So it's your time. I'm way behind. I'm not gonna quit, but I'm happy for you. You deserve it. How long have we been doing this?
Why you gotta bring up old stuff?
I'm just saying. It's been a long time, so it's your time. Look, you are the Cleveland Browns of this year in our league. Yep, you winning. You living up to the hype. So, hey, congratulations, brother. Keep doing what you do. I don't understand it. Like I said, I lost out on baseball. I'm losing out on the picks. My fantasy team sucks. Hell. I got to turn it around by basketball, and I'm good. Other than that,
yeah, the NBA season's starting pretty soon, so we'll talk about that pretty soon. Black, what's going on with the picks, man?
I'm first. Let me congratulate you because, like I said, we've been doing this for a while. It's the first time you kind of really showed up, so I'm gonna give you that.
Hell, look, hey, Black Door, yes. Real quick. You know what? Hell, I should have boycotted this year. I did
the same thing. Mail my picks in. You gotta show up. But I won't say this. We're not even at the halfway season yet. And that's not to say you may not win, but we got another half of the season to go. So whatever you're doing, keep doing because we damn sure ain't trying to stop trying to get there, bro. I know I'm not. So keep doing what you're doing. I congratulate you, but I will be tail grabbing you sometime real soon. It might be this week.
If I can get the refs to quit making bad calls, I'll be all right.
Oh, it's the refs' fault. It's the refs' fault.
Yeah, right. It's somebody's fault. Can't be mine.
Oh. All right, we tally up the wins. Last week, me and Pop tied at a 9-5 record. Black Door had an 8-6 record, and Icewater had a 7-7 record. And so for the total, I'm in the lead. 60 wins, 31 losses. You have Pop with 53 wins and 38 losses. Yeah, Black Door 52 wins and 39 losses, and Icewater just sitting there with his hat shaking his head at 50 and 49. What's your strategy to get back, Black?
Well,
you picking first this week.
Well, it's funny because there's a couple of games. There's been some games I just missed on, like Atlanta. I took Atlanta. Atlanta they got to fire that coach, man. They got to fire that coach. They battled back a little bit, but I kind of missed out on them. I'm trying to think of the other game that I had that didn't work last week because I wasn't off by much. But it's just been some games where things just tend not to go well. But I'm gonna do better. I will do better. I will make this a race before it's all said and done.
All right. What's your strategy, Ice?
You know what? All I know is one thing. I'm gonna go back to my boy, Panama Lewis with Aaron Pryor. I got the mix.
Drinking that ice water, baby.
Good to go. The mix, baby. Right here. This is it.
All right, we're going to shut it down and get ready for a call-in show in overtime. We're going to have folks call in after we do our picks and give their sports questions. So I'll text a few folks that who've been chomping at the bits to come in.
Yeah, come get it.
They're texting folks, so we're going to get it.
Come get it. You say you want it.
Yeah.
Come get it.
You want it with the goons, you got it. You want it, you got it.
Come get it. You say you ready? You think you can do this?
We ain't ready for the goons, baby.
This ain't easy.
Ready for the goons.
This ain't easy. You think you can do this?
We will see you on overtime. That's it for the Goon Squad Sports Radio Show podcast. Puma, Icewater, and Black Door. See you in overtime.
I dare you to call in.